So, as you may have heard, a few big stories broke over the weekend, namely that Polygon is basically toast. I believe most of the staff has been let go, and that Giant Bomb was also sort of exploded, leaving Jeff Grubb and some other industry veterans out of work currently. Obviously, I've worked in the industry for a long time. I know these people. A lot of people want to hear my reaction to it, so let's get right into it after my cool intro. So, here's what Valnet actually said. It says Valnet acquires premium gaming publication Polygon from Vox Media. Polygon joins Valnet's robust gaming portfolio known as the Valnet Gaming Group. Valnet, a leading global digital publishing and media investment company, announced today that it has acquired the premium gaming publication Polygon from Vox Media, the modern media company. Polygon will join Valnet's robust gaming portfolio known as the Valnet Gaming Group, which collectively reaches over 1.2 billion users annually. The acquisition and assets deal closed today. So the result of this is that Polygon is going to be folded into Game Rant, The Gamer, Fextra Life, Open Critic, Dual Shockers, and Hardcore Gamer. And there's some rumors going around, as far as I know, unsubstantiated, that they're a bit of a content mill and that people are expected to work long hours and hit difficult deadlines. At least that's what I've seen people posting on Twitter. I don't know anything about the validity of those claims. I'm just saying it's been out there. Obviously, the entire Polygon staff being laid off. They're upset. They're going to be looking for work. And to top it all off, on the same day, Fandom basically torpedoed Giant Bomb. Fandom blows up Giant Bomb. This is from Ethan Gatch over at Kotaku. I like Ethan. I think he does great work over there. And I'm going to try and adjust this so you can actually read it. So they blow up Giant Bomb. A cornerstone of gaming is in shambles following interference from the Wiki farm. Giant Bomb's future is uncertain following a showdown with parent company Fandom, which also owns GameSpot, over editorial interference. Creative director Dan Reichert announced on a recent live stream that he would no longer be appearing on the Giant Bombcast, and co-host Jeff Grubb confirmed on social media on Thursday that he's no longer with the company. Giant Bomb content is currently on hold while Fandom engages in a strategic reset and realignment of our media brands. Jeff Grubb tweeted, I saw this. Well, that was a dream come true. Knew it wouldn't last, though. Out of a job at the moment, but I'll always be doing. The news follows an ominous pause on Giant Bomb streams at the end of April and the takedown of an episode of the Giant Bombcast from YouTube this week after the host mocked apparent brand safety concerns recently foisted upon them by management at Fandom. I didn't realize all this happened. This is interesting. Then, in a live stream on April 30th, Reichert, a member of Giant Bomb between 2014 and 2020, who returned in 2022, announced he would no longer be appearing on the show and had no interest in Fandom's vision for Giant Bomb's future. As you know, we've temporarily paused Giant Bomb live streaming, and that content is currently available on demand for our audience, a spokesperson for Fandom told Kotaku in an email. We understand this programming pause isn't ideal for our audience, but it's part of a strategic reset and realignment of our media brands. We have some creative ideas for the future of Giant Bomb that we're actively working on that we'll be able to communicate more about soon. Alex Navarro says, making someone get out there and do the Muhammad Saeed al-Shaif thing for the brand in the middle of all this is cruel, even by most corporate standards. What are you going to do? What are you exploring? What do you think it is you own, and what do you believe is left of it? I mean, long story short, it sounds like they want to make money on the Giant Bombcast, and it's not making money, which is why they would bring up brand safety concerns, and they're probably going to make it a little bit more brand safe so that sponsors can target it. I rarely get sponsors. I've been fortunate enough to get sponsors like Flexi Spots. I think Mecha Break sponsored me since I went independent. And that money right now is scarce. It used to be flowing a lot more. And I think a lot of these companies, like Polygon, for example, who is basically gone, they'll come back in some form. are feeling that squeeze. It's probably why GameStop sold Game Informer back to the original creators, and they were able to get that off the ground. Even going back to my friends at Death Battle, that Rooster Teeth, the whole company was shut down, and then Death Battle spun off on its own and started up its own thing. And I believe Bernie and Ashley ended up purchasing Rooster Teeth back recently, but I don't know what's going to come of that. So my thoughts on the whole situation. I sort of tweeted about this a little bit, and I asked this genuinely. What's left? I think we're seeing a massive reset in the industry for media and game creation. And with Christopher Dring, who also went independent recently, saying there's a 13% decrease in articles, you bet YouTubers and streamers are going to be a new go-to. What do I mean by that? So PR still needs to get the PR messaging out there. They still need to be reaching out to people to communicate their vision. And who are the biggest voices right now? Independent media, like me, like Gameranx or SkillUp or any of the platforms that are out there just being independent. And a lot of people are like, well, what website are they going to read articles from? If you've been paying attention to the industry, a lot of these places just brought it in-house anyway. They have Ubisoft blog, PlayStation blog. I'm sure EA has a blog. We have the Nintendo website. And there's all these marketing avenues where they're just doing their own PR. And they're probably garnering a larger interest than most of the websites were. I think IGN's going to be fine. They have a lot of companies under their belt, and I do think that I'm biased on IGN. I worked there for 13 years. I have a lot of pride in my work there, and I do think that they're going to be fine, and I'm proud of the work I did there. I think I did a good job of representing the gamer's voice in a way that worked on IGN, and I'm proud of what I was able to accomplish. I don't know about everybody else, though. I don't know that they are garnering that interest or representing that voice in a way that is editorially sound. And I worry that there's an imbalance of representing game creators and game developers and game publishers versus representing the voice of people who play video games. And that voice is often crass. It's often not really well liked. It ruffles feathers in the industry when they talk about things like the controversial topics that people bring up all the time that you see trending on Twitter, and people seem taken a little bit aback about that. But you know who's able to have those direct conversations? Basically every Twitch streamer. Everybody can sort of freely talk about that, and they don't get in as much trouble. And I think PR is going to start going to them more and more. They already do. Who do they go to when they release a new shooty game? They go to Shroud. They went to Dr. Lupo and some of those other names. Dr. Lupo sort of caught up in a controversy with chess today. I don't know how that's going to impact things, but maybe I don't know who this Ninja. Do they go to the Ninja? Do they go to Tim the Tap Man? They go to these big name streamers who are going to garner a massive audience, and those are sort of their go-to. They'll still go to IGN, but are they going to go to Polygon? Well, they don't really have a Polygon to go to now. And it's not just Polygon being impacted. It's all sorts of people in the media space. There's been so many layoffs in the last several years in the media space. And it does mean that people like me are going independent. People like Chris Dring is backed by Keeley, I think. But he's semi-independent. And there's all these outlets sort of doing their thing, and some people are going to end up wherever they end up, and others will end up like me, sort of doing their thing to whoever will listen. And for me, I love gaming. I loved at IGN when I was there finding ways to give gamers a voice. I remember when I did Versus, it was about letting the gaming community vote on what their favorite game was, and I would ask editorial. I would say, I just want you to present your case for why the game's good. I don't want you to do any sort of comparative analysis because that's up to the audience. And that was one of the first things I did way, way back. And you could vote on YouTube sort of with the annotations back in the day. It was a fun project to work on. Or presenting a game in a fun way. I did the How Scary Is series, another big series where you would be able to see various reactions from various people. And I would sort of tell a story through how I would edit that. And for me, that's what it's always been about. And then later in my career, you know, I would do performance reviews where we would test the games and allow gamers to make a more informed decision about, you know, the performance of something. And then like my version of Digital Foundry, I gave them many shout outs in those pieces of content. And then, you know, IGN is sort of a, I don't know if they own Digital Foundry or how that all works, but they're definitely partnered these days. I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I also did another thing. I did YouTube content. I would talk about things, and I would get roasted by veterans in the industry if I would slip up a little bit in my talking, or I would, on Twitter, people would clip me and they would make fun of me. They got real mad about the Baldur's Gate 3 thing, but you know what the Baldur's Gate 3 thing was about? It was about how the industry is building up an iceberg that they are going to crash into. Their budgets are out of control. They're releasing games that aren't functional at launch. They are charging microtransactions. And you know who hated that? The industry. You know who loved that? Gamers. Because gamers understood the frustration that I was trying to convey. And I did my best to convey it in my own way. But the industry felt like I was attacking the industry. And it was never about developers. It was about the practices that are setting them up to fail. Developers out there, if any developer watches this, do you really want to be making microtransactions for your game? And if you do, why do you want to do that? Because you have to so that your studio can survive? Like, are you just... Like, I don't think that... I find it hard to believe that developers just care about money. I think there's plenty of developers out there who really care about perfecting their craft and making a great product, and I choose to believe that. But the people who control the money are having to battle $300 million budgets, and it's just completely out of control. I'm totally going off on a tangent right now. We'll bring it back to the media side. So they're battling these $300 million budgets, and then what happens? Baldur's Gate 3 happens. Rumor budget of $100 million, certainly not $300 million, but they're a big company. Okay. What about Grinding Gear Games, who made Path of Exile 2 for under $100 million? Well below, I believe, is what I was told for Path of Exile 2. All right, yeah, that's two examples. Can you give me any more? Sure can. Clair Obscur Expedition 33, just a small team in France. I believe it's around 30 people. They hired people on Reddit who were making music, and they made a phenomenal turn-based RPG. It's really a touching game. Go play Clair Obscur right now. All right, that's 3. But can you think of any more? Sure, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, an estimated budget of $50 million. Beautiful game, really well done, really stuck to its vision, and it did something really, really interesting with its property. And we could go on. I'm sure Marvel Rivals didn't cost $300 million, though we don't really have a budget trajectory of what that project costs, but there are other examples out there. I'm just not thinking of them off the top of my head. Yeah, I could only think of 4 or 5. Sorry, everybody. So something is out of whack. Something is out of whack in terms of what is being published. I don't think there's a lot of innovation happening in a lot of the media space, and I would like to see more of that personally. It's something that I would like to see people push the envelope, try new things, because I really feel like we've been doing a lot of the same things that we have done since GameFAQs, you know, and honestly, game guides are the one thing that have stood the test of time. But in terms of coverage, it hasn't really changed much, except for one way. Videos like this one, where I just talk, this isn't scripted. I'm just having a direct conversation with you and sharing my thoughts about my concerns about the industry. I don't know if any of that is going to make sense to you. It has certainly been a difficult day to a lot of people who I know, to be frank, and I do hope that they find work somewhere sooner rather than later. I know how scary that can be, looking for work out there in the industry, but I earnestly wish them all the best. And I do think that we are seeing a reset point, though. I think if you want to take a crack at new media, get a YouTube camera, get a YouTube channel, and start making YouTube videos, because it's either sink or swim for a lot of people out there right now. And it took me years to figure out something that worked on this channel, or even find a voice on this channel that worked. And I only have 100,000 subscribers or whatever. Like I'm no Skill Up, but Skill Up figured it out. Skill Up started making Division content and Destiny content when he started out. He was making guide videos, and now he does news. Yeah, like Dring's article really was eye-opening for me. A 13% decrease in articles. There is a big place right now for people that want to talk about news, report on news, and it seems like the competition metric is getting lower and lower instead of higher and higher. I see new YouTubers making videos like mine pop up every day. I've been doing it a little bit longer, so maybe I get a few more views than some of the guys just starting out, but I could see a day where they easily trounce my viewership. And then if we want to talk about the he who shall not be named, Asmongold gets 60,000 concurrents every day. Something's happening there. And I don't think it's all of the negative things that people want to say about Asmongold. I think he is offering a perspective that literally nobody else will offer. Or maybe a few other people will offer, but most don't. And I would challenge all outlets out there to consider that. To consider, are we offering all the perspectives, or are we all kind of offering the same perspective? And don't be afraid to challenge each other and have conversations when you don't agree on a topic. I think it's okay to talk about the games we don't like and why we don't like them. Concord would be a good example. I didn't like the character designs. I think the gameplay got long in the tooth. And I think there was a big issue with that game resonating with the general audience. And I think it's okay to have those conversations. I don't know why we wouldn't. I want video game creators to succeed. And you know how you help them succeed? You help them succeed by telling the truth and being honest about how you feel about things. And most gamers, some of them are younger, some of them are older, a lot of them are crass. We've all had that party chat on with the people swearing and saying terrible things. That is most of the gaming audience. Like it or not, that's the truth. So I don't know. If you're not offering a perspective that speaks to them, and I'm not saying you have to be crass or rude or awful or anything like that, but it is important to be able to say something like, hey, South of Midnight wasn't particularly for me. In my case, I got roasted for that, but I was being honest. I played through the whole game. I had my issues with it. I don't think it's the worst game in the world. I just think it's going to have a difficult time finding its niche, so to speak. Or Concord, another lightning rod topic. And before that, like Suicide Squad, right? Suicide Squad was another game where people wouldn't come out and just say, this isn't a good game. I did. And a few others did, but they did it in like a way where I feel like people didn't feel the oomph. I don't know. Maybe that one's just me being, I'm still a little miffed about that one, but yeah. I feel like I've totally lost track of what I was saying. Just don't be afraid to offer other perspectives. I think the idea that not being able to talk about how Black Myth Wukong was a phenomenal game, I think that's strange. You know, not being able to talk about how Concord was a colossal issue, even leading into the player number decline and lack of viewership. Like, just have honest conversations, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Anyway, I should go. I feel like that's all I really need to say. My heart goes out to everybody who lost their job today. Hopefully you can find some work and continue on doing what you do. I highly recommend giving YouTube a shot because let's be honest, a whole lot of people at Polygon, you're a lot better writers than I am. A lot of you are probably in better shape than I am, probably better on camera than I am. Turn on a YouTube camera, start making YouTube videos, and go do your thing on LinkedIn or whatever, but build something for yourself. I would recommend that to anyone, and I wish you the best in that endeavor because if you are looking at my video and critiquing everything that I do, okay, bet. Do it yourself. Show me how it's done. Stop worrying about what I'm doing and put me in my place and just trounce my channel. I dare you. Do it. We'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when my content goes live. I do greatly appreciate you. And actually, I say that in earnest. And if you want help knowing how to do the basics, I'm happy to, you can feel free to reach out. I will literally show you how to do it. And then you can take a crack at it for yourself, because I want more voices out there, not fewer. Anyway, thank you so much to the members who do support me doing what I do. Chris Fratty, Inner Machine, Philaroni, Spingetter, and Aries EMS. I greatly appreciate you very, very much. I'm going to get out of here, though. If you want to check out my last video, I don't remember what I talked about. I'm playing Arc Raiders. I'm playing Marathon. And I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.